So the ingredients you're going to need is some block sugar. This is the brown sugar. You can get this at your local Asian grocer. If you don't have this or cannot get a hold of this, brown sugar would be fine as a replacement, or even white sugar is fine. But I'm going to use this. And you also are going to need glutinous rice flour, also known as sweetened rice flour. Don't confuse this type. There's two ones. There's this green package one and one that looks identical to this in red. The red one is the regular rice flour. So you want this one. You're also going to need some white sesame seeds and a can of red bean paste. You can also home make your red bean paste or buy frozen, but this is the brand that I like because it's not too runny, and I just refrigerate this to make sure it's in a solid state. So I have the original recipe, and I'm going to just basically use 1.5 blocks of the sugar, and I'm going to dissolve that in 2/3 of a cup of water. So I'm going to just drop the little blocks in, and then I'm just going to wait for the water to boil and dissolve the sugar. Just want to swirl the pan around just to dissolve the sugar, but eventually it'll look just like this, a brownish tinted syrup. And I just placed it in a separate bowl to cool, and I'm just going to cover that with some saran wrap. And it's best to kind of wait overnight, but fully cooled is fine also. And in a glass bowl, I'm just going to dump in my glutinous rice flour. I'm not even going to measure this, mainly because the sugar water that we're incorporating, we won't even use all of it, so you're just going to use enough to form the dough. So I'm just dumping some of the glutinous rice flour in. And now just using your finger, you want to make a well in the center of the flour. And as soon as you have a well, you're just going to slowly pour in some of that sugared water. You're not going to put all of it in at once, you're just going to do it little at a time. You can do this with a fork, but I'm going to be using my hand mixer with the dough hook beaters on there. And I'm just going to stir that water in and then slowly pour a little bit more at a time just to wetten the flour. Once it gets to this stage of 80-85% mixed, you can just take a little bit of butter or margarine or shortening, and I'm just putting in 1 tablespoon approximately into the dough mixture, and then I'm going to continue beating them with my dough hooks. You want to look at the texture of your dough and also get your hands in there and feel the dough, you'll be able to tell once it's ready. It should be sticky, but not too sticky. It shouldn't stick to your hands. But all of the flour should be incorporated into your ball of dough, and there shouldn't be much remaining inside the actual bowl. Now I'm just going to cover my leftover sugar water and also cover my dough. And I'm just going to let that sit for about an hour. Next, you just want to take half of your dough and you're going to roll it into a cylinder type shape. And basically, you're just going to cut this in little pieces with a knife in even pieces to make the same size balls. So once you roll it out, just take a knife and just cut through the log. And you're going to do the same thing with your red bean paste, except you're going to roll it out to a thinner log. And you're just going to cut much smaller pieces, but the same size pieces. And now we're ready to assemble. So grab one piece of dough. You're going to lay this on your board and just flatten it with the palms of your hand. Shouldn't stick too much to the board. And then you're just going to, with your thumbs, make an indent in the center. And you're basically going to use one hand as a cup holder and form it like that. And it should have a well in the center. You're going to grab a piece of your red bean and you're going to place it right in the center and pat it down. And you're just going to slowly pinch all of the sides in, just like this. And to seal it completely, you just need to make sure to squeeze it like this to make a point basically on your dough. It should look something like a head of garlic. And you're just going to flatten that pointed part and roll in the palms of your hand to make sure it's fully sealed. And then you're just going to set this down on a plate with the others, and you're just going to repeat the process. Now you're going to take some of your dried sesame seed and you're going to pour a little bit into a small dish. And you're also going to have a little bit of water in a separate bowl. And you're basically just going to take a ball and you're going to dip it into the water very quickly just to soak all of it. And you're going to drop it into your sesame seeds and you're just going to roll it to make sure all sides are covered. To ensure that your sesame seeds stay on the sesame ball while you're cooking it and frying it, you need to make sure to really pat the sesame seeds on there, and you're going to roll it in the palms of your hand, and it's going to press the seeds directly into the dough, and that is what keeps the sesame seeds on the actual ball. Now you're just going to pour some vegetable oil, canola oil, peanut oil into a pan. I actually ended up running out of oil, so you typically want to add more oil than I did, but since that's all I had to kind of work with it. A candy thermometer is always best to decide the temperature of your oil. You want it to be under 350 degrees at all time, before you cook and during cooking time. I'm just using a laser thermometer to determine the temperature of my oil, and about anywhere between 330 degrees to 340 degrees is perfect. You don't want it exceeding that temperature. So mine's at 336. I'm just going to take my smaller balls and I'm just going to just drop them all in. Basically, I want to keep all of the balls moving, and I'm going to use a metal slotted spoon to do that, and I'm just going to work them all the way around, make sure all of it is golden brown. And this process should take anywhere between 6 to 9 minutes depending on the temperature of your oil. You should be able to tell when they're done. Just when they are golden brown, just like this. You don't want to cook it any further, or else the sesame seeds will end up burning and they will have a really strong, distinct taste. So now I'm just going to drop my 3 larger ones in, and I'm just going to cook these for anywhere between 10 to 12 minutes. And I'm going to take them out, and I'm just placing the cooked ones on a plate lined with paper towels to soak up the excess oil. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Bye.